everybody, it's Mrs. Ramson here. I've got a story to read you, but I've heard that you have been learning this week all about a giant. This is a different type of giant. Shall we have a look? Some of you might have seen this book before. It is The Smartest Giant in Town by Julia Donaldson. That's the author of the book. Shall we have a read? Let's see what happens to the smartest giant in town. George was a giant. There he is, look. There is the huge giant. The scruffiest giant in town. He always wore the same pair of old brown sandals, the same old patched up gown. I wish I wasn't the scruffiest giant in town, he said, sadly. Oh dear, he does look rather sad. Let's see what happens on the next page. But one day, George noticed a new shop. It was full of smart clothes. So he bought a smart shirt, a smart pair of trousers, a smart belt, a smart stripy tie, some smart socks with diamonds up the sides, and a smart pair of shiny shoes. Now I'm the smartest giant in town, he said proudly. George left his old clothes behind in the shop. He was about to go home when he heard a sound. On the pavement stood a giraffe who was sniffing loudly. What's the matter? Asked George. There he is, leaving some of his clothes in the shop. And there he is, meeting the giant. It's my neck, said the giraffe. It's so very long and very cold. I wish I had a warm scarf. Oh, he's looking, and George is looking too. Cheer up, said George, and he took off his stripy tie. It didn't match my socks anyway, he said, as he wound it round and round the giraffe's neck. It made a wonderful scarf. Thank you, said the giraffe. Look at the giraffe now. Look at his neck. It will be kept nice and warm. As George strode towards home, he sang to himself. My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe, but look me up and down. I'm the smartest giant in town. There he is, feeling happy. He's helped a giraffe. And he's still very, very smart. George came to a river. On a boat stood a goat who was bleating loudly. What's the matter? Asked George. There he is, talking to the goat. My sail, said the goat. It blew away in a storm. I wish I had a strong new sail for my boat. He is. Poor goat doesn't have a sail. Cheer up, said George, and he took off his new white shirt. It kept coming untucked anyway, he said, as he tied it to the mast of the goat's boat. It made a magnificent sail. Thank you, said the goat. Look at that now. Wow. George strode on, singing to himself. My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt is a boat. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. But look me up and down. I'm still the smartest giant in town. There he is. No shirt, no tie, but he still looks good. Well, let's see what happens next. On the next page, children, George came to a tiny ruined house. Beside the house stood a white mouse with lots of baby mice They were all squeaking. What's the matter? Asked George. Oh my goodness, look at the house and look at the mice. They look very sad. Our house, squeaked the mother mouse. It burnt down and now we've nowhere to live. I wish we had a new house. Oh my goodness, look. The mice must feel very, very sad without a house. Cheer up, said George, as he took off one of his shiny shoes. It was giving me blisters anyway, he said, as the mouse and her baby scrambled inside. Oh, the shoe made a perfect home for them. Thank you, they squeaked. Look at that. The mice are getting inside the shoe. Wow. George had to hop along the road now, but he didn't mind. As he hopped, he sang to himself. My tie's a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. But look me up and down, I'm still the smartest giant in town. There he is, singing and hopping. George came to a campsite. Beside a tent stood a fox who was crying. What's the matter? Asked George. There's the fox crying. George looking at him. It's my sleeping bag, said the fox. I dropped it in a puddle. I wish I had a warm, dry sleeping bag. Oh my goodness, look at the fox. What's going to happen? Cheer up, said George. He took off one of his socks with diamonds up the sides. It was tickling my toes anyway, he said. As the fox snuggled into it, it made a very fine sleeping bag. Thank you, said the fox. Wow, look at that. The sock is a sleeping bag. George hopped on, singing to himself. My tie's a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a tiny white mouse. One of my socks is a bed for a fox. But look me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town. Oh, I didn't show you that picture. There he is, hopping, but he's happy. Let's see what happens on the next page. George came to a big squelchy bog. Beside the bog stood a dog who was howling. What's the matter? Asked George. There's George, and there's the dog looking a little bit sad, and there is the muddy bog. It's this bog, said the dog. I need to get across, but I keep getting stuck in the mud. I wish there was a safe, dry path. Oh dear. There's the dog. There he is stuck. And he's right in now, right inside. Let's see what happens on the next page. What will George do? Cheer up, said George. And he took off his smart new belt. It was squishing my tummy anyway, he said, as he laid it down over the bog. It made an excellent path. Thank you, said the dog. My goodness, look. The belt is a path over the mud, the muddy, squelchy bog. The wind started to blow, but George didn't mind. He hopped on, singing to himself. My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of my socks is a bed for a fox. My belt helped a dog who was crossing a bog. But, there he is, happy, hoppy. My trousers are falling down. I'm the coldest giant in town. Suddenly George felt sad and shivery and not at all smart. He stood on one foot and thought, I'll have to go back to the shop and buy some more clothes. He decided he turned round and hopped all the way back to the shop. Oh my goodness, let me show you George with his trousers falling down. Oh no. Oh, what will he do when he gets back to the shop? But when he got there, it was closed. Oh no, cried George. He sank down onto the doorstep and a tear rolled down his nose. He felt as sad as all the animals he had met on the way home. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw a bag with something familiar poking out of the top. George took a closer look. There he is outside the shop looking a little bit sad. And here's the bag. Something out. My gown! He yelled. My dear old gown and sandals. George put them on. He felt wonderfully comfortable. I'm the cosiest giant in town, he cried. And he danced back home along the road. He's got his own gown on, his own sandals on, and he's really, really happy. Outside the front door stood all the animals he had helped. They were carrying an enormous present. Come on, George, they said, open it. George untied the ribbon. Inside was beautiful gold paper, a crown and a card. Look inside the card, George, said the animals. George put the crown on his head and opened the card. There's George with the crown on his head. Here's the card, here's the box, here's all the animals. Inside it said, your tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. Your shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. Your shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of your socks is a bed for a fox. Your belt helped a dog who was crossing a bog. So here is a very fine crown to go with the sandals and gown of the kindest giants in town. And the animals had written the letter and drawn some of the characters in that he had helped. Wow, that's the end of the story. What a lovely story. The giant was so kind to the animals that in the end they were kind to him. I hope you've enjoyed the story and all the other things you've been doing this week.